And if it's your first time joining us today, just so you know, this is the Facilitation Happy Hour. It's a series of sessions that we're running once a month. It lasts between 45 to 1 hour in duration. And in these sessions, we discuss, workshop, detangle, and discover all things facilitation. My name is Daria. I'm founder of FridayMakers, your facilitation and training company, where our mission is to transform all meetings and training sessions into tangible results, whilst also empowering our clients and leaders to do the same. Today, we're joined by a very special guest, Angie Yang from Krave Yoga, who have put together a movement and mindfulness toolkit for us, for facilitators. And before I pass it on to Angie, I would love to find out, what does mindfulness mean to you? Whether it's a one word or whether it's a short sentence. You think, are we on the right track in terms of our understanding of what mindfulness is?
Yeah, thanks, Daria. Hey, everybody. I am Angie from Krave Yoga. It's so awesome to be with you today. This is the first time I've been in a room of facilitators. And yeah, it's really wonderful because you guys are so engaged, so much different than my usual audience. And yeah, like Daria said, you're definitely on the right track. There are a little bit more tidbits that I will share with you throughout the presentation about mindfulness, about mindset and movement. So this is all packaged in a way that allows you to get in the zone, in focus, being your best, and bring that out in your sessions, in your seminars, and in your audience as well. Okay, so thanks a lot for all your input. We are really off to a great track, and I will share my screen. Welcome to this session. We're going to be talking about movement and mindfulness because they complement each other so well, and hopefully through this presentation, you will also find out how. So the goal is that you can get more out of your events, your audience, and yourself. So let's get started. First and foremost, I start everything, whether it's a yoga class, meditation, mindfulness session, with a very short grounding session. So I would like to invite everybody to sit comfortably in your chair. So making sure your sit bones are firmly grounded into the surface. And you feel steady and stable and secure in your body. Preferably, your feet are also touching the ground, rooted deeply into the floor. I would like you to place your hands on your lap, just very gently. The spine is tall and long. So thinking about the crown of the head going towards the ceiling, and relax the shoulders. We always tend to hunch or tense up, shoulders by the ears throughout the day. So I want you to just take a breath in and sound it out. And then relax your face, your shoulders, with your hands firmly on your thighs. You can choose to close your eyes or just soft gaze towards the floor. We're going to just tune in to our body, our breathing, and ourselves first. Some people mentioned they're running from meetings to today. Maybe there are a lot of other things that you still need to get done. But I invite you for this moment to bring your attention back to your body, your breathing, and your presence. Let's take one big inhale for 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold. Exhale for 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale for 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold. Exhale for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold. Exhale for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Take a couple more breaths here at this rhythm, trying to extend your exhale. Slow down your nervous system by 1 count each time. So we draw our exhales longer and longer. One more breath together. Deep inhale. And deep exhale. At this time, I want you to turn your attention to your intention, your goal for today. What do you want to learn? How do you want to show up? An intention could be anything from being present, or maybe you want to gift this session to somebody else, to show love elsewhere. Anything you want, think of a goal for the next 3 breaths and really focus on that, the one thing. One last breath together, inhale. And maybe this time you open your mouth and sigh it out, ha sound, letting everything go that does not serve you. Beautiful, let's gently open our eyes. I'm back with you. And if you can just pop in the chat of what your intention was, what you thought of your goal, maybe what you want to learn as well, that would be great. Daria is helping me keeping track of all your input. So that would be really lovely to see. You can also unmute yourself and just let me know what you feel like. That's also awesome. I'll give you 2 minutes and then we can get started into the meat of things.
My goal is to have fun because I have been so serious lately. So I'm trying to relax and have fun.
Yeah, perfect. I love it, Layla. That's what the session is also about, because I love bring lightness, a little bit of silliness, as you will see. And having fun just creates a great mindset and mindfulness as well. So thank you for sharing and feeling relaxed. I'm seeing in the chat, centered. I love it. So yeah, I hope after that short breathing exercise, you can see it's just a few minutes. You already feel that your brain maybe is more open, is a little bit lighter. Your spine is a little bit taller. And that's what we're trying to achieve, to calm you so we can focus on the session, so you can open your senses to what's coming in the case. So that's why I say everyone needs to calm down. And that's also what I really believe we should do at the start of every session. So let's go to the next slide. 1 second. Great. So as Daria mentioned, I'm Angie. So I kind of moved around the world, just so you know. I'm Taiwanese Canadian. I was born here, where I am now in Taipei, but then I moved abroad to Germany, then to Singapore, where I met Daria and Emily on the call. Hi, Emily. And, many other people. So it's great to see everyone being around, in the international community. I love that. My background, I am a lawyer and a lecturer, so lecturer of law. So Layla, what you said about seriousness, completely understand. I used to be a litigator, and there's not much humor in that. So that's still my profession. I still do that, the lawyering, but I also teach yoga, and that's what I love right now. And that's why I founded Krave Yoga, which is really a brand, a lifestyle that we want to empower people through movement, because just short movements like breathing or certain stretches can change the body, change the mindset so much. And that is a core aspect of what I want to do today and tomorrow, etc. And our philosophy for Krave Yoga is pushing boundaries one breath at a time. So not limiting ourselves and trying to always be more, be better, and take ourselves to the next level, which I think really fits into this group today, as you're a part of a self-development session. So what's on today? What are you going to learn? What are we going to focus on? So there are 3 aspects that we are going to look at. So one is you, the audience right now. For me, the facilitator, you're the core part, the linchpin of all your sessions, right? So I want to make sure that we take care of you first. And this is how we can move into movement and mindfulness, despite being so busy, which I know all of you are. And I want to introduce certain mindfulness and movements that you can do at your desk in 5 minutes to really tailor to your busy lifestyles. The second part, your audience, the people, right? That's what we are all exposed to. And how do you get them to ground themselves and really receive your facilitation? That is an aspect we will focus on as well. I will share some tips and tricks and hacks with you that you can implement into your session so you can have greater impact in all your workshops. And last but not least, I do a little section on the seminar itself. So on your workshops, your facilitation sessions, and give you a few suggestions of how we can use movement and breath work to get those creative juices going, elevate engagement, and also have more fun, whether you're online, because I know now a lot of it is virtual, or in person. These are exercises you can take away, and I will be sharing with them throughout our whole journey together. So let's start with you. And yeah, one thing I want to say that you saw in the corner there is that this is a doing workshop. So I really want you to try to do the movements that I will show you. I will also give you some tips while we do them. You can put any question you have in the chat or unmute yourself and let me know, because sometimes it's not so easily seen in the pictures or, you know, in my demo on screen. So you, as the facilitator, I want to enable you to do, and essentially office workers, movement wherever, because we are busy, and there are some times where we are simply tied to our desk due to the nature of our work. So my first question is, well, what is the point, right? You have a million things to do, but why add movement? So maybe you can share in the chat or unmute yourselves, why do you want to add movement to your daily life?
For me, if I don't move enough and I'm stuck to my desk, then at the end of the day, I feel like an old lady, and I stand up and I can feel my shoulders are all hunched up and I feel just like stiff and uncomfortable.
Yeah, thanks, Emily. I definitely share that sentiment. Sometimes just pulling my shoulders back, I hear the creaking. Because I've been hunched over a laptop all day. And yes, Niru, we were born to move, right? Movement, like someone said, like flowing like water with mindfulness, that is the essence of our existence. And yeah, we were built to do it. And movement leads to a healthy mind as well. So thank you, Daria. And I've just chosen here 3 examples that I want to show you, very easy, that we can do. So again, I hope you're already sitting in the chair. If not, maybe sit somewhere that's a little bit more grounded, not too soft, like a couch. So usually, as you can see them in the picture, I take 2 blocks to elevate my feet. Now, if you're in the office, you can see, you can take a bunch of books as well. I just happen to have blocks with me because that's kind of my profession now. So you just want to make sure that you have about 90 degrees right here between your calf and your thighs. So that's why a block or some books is always a nice aspect. Now, on the arrow on the left here, whenever it goes up, it's an inhale. And when it goes down, that's what we do on the exhale. So I want to go through these exercises with you, 3 breaths each, just so you understand how they work as well and take them into your session. So first, I want everybody to put your hands in front of you. So right here in front of the camera, beautiful. And when we inhale, we want to push the palms against the camera and lift our shoulders up. Now you can gaze forward. If you don't have any tightness in your neck, try looking up as well. So the feeling you get is that your bottom, starting from the bottom, you feel like there's a motion that's pushing your bottoms open. So your butt, you know, that the muscles are stretching open, and then maybe a little bit of a back bend of a U shape in your waist here. And then your chest is opening towards the front, towards your camera. So really try not to hunch, but push your chest open as if you're shining it to the world. And your armpits are also facing the camera. This is on the in breath. Now on the out breath, our palms face us. So we're back to this position. Here you go. And then we round forward, round your back a lot, like a cat spine. So this is the seated cat and cow. Remember to keep your arms engaged. Imagine that I'm going into the camera and grabbing your hands. So you want to keep steady. So people think this is such an easy pose, but you're actually engaging your core. You're sucking in your belly. You're rounding the spine a lot. Okay, and then making the arms strong. Now let's do that with our breath. So inhale, push towards the camera, and let's go up. Maybe look up, add a gentle back bend. Exhale, we come back down, arms down, round the spine like an angry cat pose. If you want, you can lean even further towards the floor. Really stretch out your lower back. Inhale again. Arms back up to the sky. And exhale, we return back to center in the camera. Beautiful. So you can I usually recommend doing it for 5 breaths at your own breath. So this, again, movement, helping you focus on the present, being mindful, being in your body. And this really opens up your shoulders, right? Because we're doing this motion, and also the spine. We need mobility in the spine as well. And that's usually the parts that we tend to scrunch up when we work. Now, the other one is, again, a twist, helping with mobility. So I want everybody to put your left hand on your outer right thigh, right? So right here. And then on the inhale, I want everybody to put your right hand to the sky, and exhale, turn away from the camera. Try to look behind you. So we are doing a deep twist with our spine. Now, just for a short moment, look at your knees again. Are they in line? Or is your right knee jutting out a lot? If it is, pull it back. Pull your right hip back so your knees are aligned again, because that's where you will feel the twist. Again, it's not how far you twist, but simply feeling a really nice stretch on the right side. So you can choose to put the right arm back on the back of your chair as well, or the side of your chair, whatever you prefer. Okay, beautiful. So inhale, we come back up, right hand, and exhale, we turn against to the left. So this is kind of a reverse twist. You can also open the chest, but I wanted to try something different. And again, let's balance it out. You always want to do both sides, or else you feel a little bit weird. So let's take this time the right hand, outer left thigh, left arm to the sky. Okay, let's do a closed twist again. So instead of turning to the left, we turn to the right on the exhale. So cross your body and to the right. And again, check your knees. So is the left knee jutting out? Pull it back to ensure you have that twist. One more time, inhale, back up to the sky, arm up, really stretch into the left side, and then twist further. Beautiful. Now we slowly come back to the camera. So if you look at my picture, the second picture, that is an open twist, right? So you twist with your chest open. You can do that or the closed twist. Both are okay. It's just a different sensation. Sometimes a closed twist feels a little bit uncomfortable, a little bit squished, but it also helps with your mobility and spine health. Now, the last one is the modified warrior 2. And this one is really fun because it really opens up your hips. We're sitting all day. So I would like to invite you all to stand up. And as you see in the picture, you can put your left leg just lightly on your chair, right? So you can see, I think in the camera for me, I have my left leg out. The right leg is just simply aligned. Your hips are aligned with your left. Very nice. And then if you want, you can put your left hand right in front of your left foot. Okay, so right arm goes to the sky on the inhale. Very beautiful. So you should be feeling a very nice stretch on the right side of your body, especially at the hips, and using your left elbow to push against your left thigh here. You will feel also a stretch on your inner left thigh. And we breathe in, big inhale. Exhale, we thread the right arm through our left leg. And then with our backs basically to the camera if you were facing the camera. That's thread the needle. Let's try one more time. Very beautiful. Great job, Layla. Hands up on the inhale and very nice even on the exhale, thread the needle. So this is a full body movement here. And now, of course, let's switch sides. This time, right leg on the chair, right hand in front of the right leg, and left arm to the sky. Very good. So we inhale here, stretch out the chest and the arms, and exhale, we thread through the right leg. Very nice. One more time. Last breath here. Inhale, push against your right thigh with your right forearm, and exhale through the needle again. Very good. So you will really feel your shoulders opening from this way, from the frontal way, as well as then stretching out the back when you thread the needle. So these are just 3 exercises that I prepared, due to our time limitations. But if you go to these links that I've linked for you, I also do some videos on my Instagram on different further types of yoga poses, movements you can take to work with you. And again, we want to prioritize the spine, the shoulder, and the hips to allow you to gain more of that motion. And like you see, it really takes 5-10 minutes, 5 breaths each, and you will feel more mobility and maybe more opening of your body. So it's definitely worth it to incorporate that into your day. You should be taking breaks anyway, I hope. So that should be something you can add to your routine. And on the next slide, I also share a bit of different exercises that you can do then in a private space. So you technically don't even need a mat. If you're at home, take out a towel. I know a lot of you travel a lot. So if you're in a hotel, you can also just lay out a towel and do it in front of the bed, wherever you have space. And these 4 exercises are both strengthening and relaxing. So they're quite simple, they're very gentle, and they counteract the strains that we have due to working. So I think you're not alien to the various strains that working at a desk long term or not so much movement can have on our body. In yoga, I see a lot of people with lower back pain or tight shoulders or maybe rounding of the back, the hunchback, and a lot of them are trying to counteract that. So spinal injuries as well, or spine immobility or hip immobility. And as you know, the hips, the spine, there are structures, right? Without them, we cannot function, we cannot move. And that's why it's very important to keep them healthy. And that does involve working them out a little bit more. Same with our muscles. So the first one you see on the up, so left, right, left, up left corner. So this one here, where my dog is there in the back because she loves watching me do strenuous things. That's a baby cobra. And my suggestion is take your hands off, right? It's easy to use your hands to push, but we are training our back, right? When you have nothing to push against, you have to use your back to lift. You know, it's just easy as inhaling, holding for maybe 2 seconds, and exhaling, like how we did the exercises in the beginning, just a quick hold. Now, if you really want to challenge, then of course, yeah, full swimmer mode, right? And then hands up. You can do this with your legs either tight to the mat or lift your legs up as well. Then you really work the bum, the thigh, the hamstrings, right? The calves as well. It's up to you, but I always do 2 variations depending on the level of difficulty that people like to do. Now, the second one, Baby Warrior 2. So that one is very similar to the pose we just did with the chair, but you can see the front is the same, but the back, you are actually on the mat. And this is because on the mat, you can lean forward even more. And that really gives you an even deeper stretch in your hips, right? So you can push forward and you can see my leg goes down even more as I push. And the key thing here is sometimes people, their hips tend to be tight. So we do this. But what we want to do is pull the chest up towards the sky. So not rounding furthermore. If you have trouble, it's okay. You don't need to put your arm down. You can also put your arm here or just hold on to a block. And then you have more room for your body to twist. So really, when you do these movements, prioritize the spine, the opening of the chest and shoulders, because you're not doing much if you're continuing to hunch, and you might then injure your back or feel quite uncomfortable. And in this motion, again, you can stay here, right? That's the option 1. And option 2, you lift your arm all the way over your head, and you will see this stretches also the side body. And I love these exercises that do more than one thing, right? Side body stretch and then thigh stretch as well. And then the second last one, the yogi squat. I think this one is a very common pose, especially in Asia. Whenever I come to Asia, people are like, oh yeah, like the yogi squat, everyone is able to do that, eating lunch or something, right? So yeah, you can do that as well. But just remember, like in the picture, if our hips are tight, we again tend to do this, right? But the key is we are using our elbows to push against the knees and opening the chest up. Again, if you feel this is not happening for you, you don't have to go down that far. You can just go halfway, and this is also okay. The goddess pose, which I will also come to later. It's all about how you feel and not what you look like. So I want to emphasize that when you are doing these poses, take a breath and just feel into your body. Sometimes you can do the left side and then the right side and notice, hey, like this side tends to be more open, or this side is, you know, sometimes more mobile, and our body changes every day. So maybe if you notice one side is off or different, it could be related to certain habits you have, right? Like I always tend to put my weight on my left and stand like this, right? But then maybe you can pop your hip to the right every once in a while, or, you know, having my shoulders a little bit lopsided because I always wear my purse or backpack on the right side. So just switch it up. It's all about balance. And when you can remember, it really helps to find that equilibrium in your body. Okay, and then for the yogi squat, you can also take a bind, which is simply putting your hands behind your back like this. And you can see this also opens your chest and forces your shoulders open, right? So let's everybody, can you try doing this and just see how you feel? But every inhale, we try to lift our chest up to the sky. And exhale, maybe squeeze your elbows together even more. Good, that looks really good. Great, Sunita, very beautiful. And Nero. Yeah, and then we just come back to seated position. Very nice. So we want to avoid those chicken arms, right? Pull your chest forward. You're superwoman and you look like it. Very beautiful. And the last one, I think this is also quite a common pose, is the pigeon, right? So the pigeon you see here, the knee is pretty much behind that same-sided wrist. Now the foot, people are very contentious about where should the foot go, whether it should be a 90 degrees parallel to the top of the mat. Again, I say, pick the position, pick the location that works for you, just because like you see my foot here is quite close to my hip, right? But that's okay. I feel good like that. And if you force the foot forward, like the perfect yoga pigeon pose, it might actually strain your knee or your kneecap. And that's definitely what we want to avoid. So again, do what works for you. And you can use the arms to push and support yourself, or again, strengthening arms to the chest, hands off. So that is actually way more challenging than it looks. You have to find that balance the right way. But what it does is it pushes into your mat, your body weight into the mat, so you can get that deeper stretch in the outer thighs and in your hip as well. And when you do it, you will notice that maybe you tend to go lopsided because we try to compensate when we are not so mobile on one side yet. So just make sure your hips are still facing forward. It's like this. It's not, off to one side, because then you're kind of off center, and that can also lead to certain discomfort later on, when you come out of the pose. So take time, if you have in your private space, to check out these poses. Again, I've also linked more below if you're interested in some more variety. But just doing this 5 to 10 minutes a day, it can alleviate back pain. It can allow the spine to be more mobile. And not only that, we move into our next topic, it can allow you to have more mindfulness and better mindset. So the first thing is your impact begins before you set foot in the room. I think all of you can relate to that sentence. You have to prepare, all your materials. You probably did your research. You look real nice, right? You're showing up okay. But have you taken the time to get into the zone, get into the proper mindset, breathing? It's kind of like leaving your worries and everything else at the door just for that session. Like our session, 60 minutes, I asked you to just press pause on life, right? And that's also mindfulness. A lot of you have said being present. I think that was one of the most talked about aspects, being aware, being with, in attention, focus, here, now, and that is a lot of what mindfulness is about, right? Breathing, being present, that awareness and attention. However, it's also without judgment. I think a lot of people think, oh, I'm breathing. Oh, now I'm thinking about the grocery list. Oh, how can I think about that? No, it's fine. That's our mind. We have, monkey minds. Just pull it back, because what mindfulness and meditation trains, it's not, okay, don't think. It's to bring that attention back. So every time your attention kind of flips away, like flies away, you're actually like, oh, thank you for flying away, because I have the opportunity to regain my focus. And that's what it trains. And in brain scans, that's the difference that brain surgeons, neurosurgeons, and neuroscientists have seen what happens in the brain, that the attention is more because you're constantly able to spot that you are moving away from your attention and then gently bring it back. So I think this goes without saying that it does matter because this directly impacts your session. And another aspect is mindset. And as I mentioned before, Krave Yoga is a lot about mindset, about you can do things, we can do hard things, and we can take ourselves to the next level. And mindset is a set of beliefs that shape how you make sense of the world and yourself. And in that sense, I want to put it to you. So my question is, how does mindset influence your role as a facilitator? You can put it in the chat or just speak it out loud, because I am not a facilitator. So I don't know, what happens if your mindset is off, or like, well, how does it impact your job and your role? Okay, perception. So Neera, what do you mean by influence perception?
Yeah, thank you, Angie. So the way I look at it is, if I have a mindset, which is, and I'm talking facilitator language here, right? Maybe I have a mindset saying, oh, this team is tough, and then, they're not listening to stuff, what's going on. If that's the mindset I go with, then everything I color with that, everything I see in that judgment, and that makes it all the more difficult, because maybe they don't mean it, but oh my God, this bunch is a tough one, and then you are downhill from there, because guess what, we started the tough one. So that's my thought, at least.
Awesome. Okay, so you try to keep an open mind, that people are, like attention, because it's the loop, right, the story we make. Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Awesome. So yeah, exactly. So mindset influences a lot of what we do, right? How we act out, because usually our thoughts influence then our behavior. And I'm sure in this group, you're very aware of microaggressions, micro expressions that come out just because of what our brain is thinking, either consciously or unconsciously. So finding that space to be mindful, first your attention without judgment, and then finding that belief that serves you in that moment can be really helpful for your session. And on that topic, the mindset, I want to share several tools that I learned throughout my career, and from other yogis, from other scientists, blogs, about hacks that I use to help me get into the right mindset. So first of all, mindfulness practice. I think brain health really depends on it, right? Being able to calm down, let go of anything that is stressing us, and just come back to ourselves and our bodies and our mind for maybe a few minutes a day. And as you can see, I've listed various tools. These are all apps you can use, but really all you need is yourself. You can just count your inhale and exhale. That's it, right? Just do it 5 times whenever you feel a little bit stressed. But in case you like to have a tool, people talk to you, then definitely I've tried all 3, and they are really great systems to also help you keep on track and to set the tone either for your day or for your evening. Now, the next one is anxiety versus excitement. So has anyone heard of this Harvard Business School study? Yeah, Emily, awesome. Okay, so Emily, do you want to share what it is about?
Oh, I mean, I don't remember all these study results, but I think it's the hack that I heard was, when you get that feeling of nerves and butterflies in your stomach, if you, instead of feeling nervous, you tell yourself that you feel excited, then you change the mindset that you go in with, and you actually can be more successful in what you want to do. Is that the one?
Yes, that's the one. Exactly. So they asked all the participants to sing karaoke in front of a group of people, right? And they had to sing The Journey, Don't Stop Believing. And if you're a participant, you're not very good at singing, you're suddenly caught with this. Maybe the nerves start going, the palms get sweaty. You know, we're in that position also when we have to give a big presentation, maybe on a date, at an interview, right? Someone is challenging you on something. So when you get ready to deliver your keynotes, so we get anxious. Our mind thinks, oh my God, like nervous. This is, yeah, kind of scary. You know, that's the loop that our mind goes into. And they found one group that they told, hey, just say you're calm. Just suppress that emotion. Like, oh yeah, I'm not anxious. I'm calm. I'm calm. That doesn't really work because you actually suppress your emotions, right? And you don't want to do that because that kind of plays out this neglect later on. But the other group, they said, hey, tell your body that you're actually really excited for this opportunity. Oh, I'm so excited to meet this, you know, hunk I found on Bumble, and like, can't wait for this date at this awesome pizzeria, right? That actually makes your brain say, oh, wow, okay, you're excited. And why? Because the symptoms, the sweaty hands, the heart beating, you know, the little like maybe giddiness, that is very similar, almost the same between anxiety and excitement. So you don't have to trick your brain into calming down, which is completely opposite, right? You can tell it, oh, you're super excited. That replaces it with a very similar physiological reaction. And that's why they say it works. Okay, and then these three are ones that I kind of came up with throughout the years and that I use. Is one is that you only get to quit on a good day. So sometimes things just go out of control and it's tough. It happens in yoga as well. I just forget my routine, or I'm in court and I just don't deliver properly. So again, we tend to say, this is the last time, right? I'll do it. I don't want to do it anymore. Why did I even do it? But the mindset is, or the trick is, if you still say that on a good day, then maybe it's time to change that, you know, decision or that role or responsibility. But if it's just you having a bad day and that's why you want to quit, then I would reassess that. And that's why I say you get to quit only on a good day. And another one that I learned from my friend is rock the vote, because there are a lot of things you don't want to do. Okay. I also don't want to get my butt up at 7 a.m. to walk my dog Daisy, who you just saw, she on the couch. But then it's like past me versus present me and future me, they all get to take a vote here. The past me would be like, oh, it's probably better if you walk Daisy, right? Like the last time you didn't walk her, like she just went all over the house. The present me is like, no, I don't want to go. The bed is so comfortable. And the future is like, well, I would be very disappointed though, if you didn't take good care and if you weren't responsible. So that's what I mean, the vote. And honestly, the present you is almost always outvoted. So go do the thing, you know, do the hard thing, say the words, take the action. Because again, if you take the vote, what does it say, right? So, and it really assesses where you were and where you want to be and right now. So, and then one last one is compassion. I want to ask you, and just to keep in mind, what did you say to yourself today? Did you show yourself love? Did you, help yourself get through difficult things? And for me, that is also mindfulness and mindset, self-compassion. And that also leads to compassion for others, right? Sometimes you just need to give yourself a break, and that's all okay. And as long as we are breathing, we can always write a different story. We can always change. If you think of your day in different tacks, you have the morning, mid, and the evening, right? Afternoon, evening. The morning ends, maybe it wasn't the best, but you get a new chance to start in the midday. So it's not only the Monday you get to change. It's not New Year's. It's not New Year resolution. Every day you can split up into different tacks. Every hour you can say the first half an hour, the second half an hour. to change what you say to yourself and to change that story that goes on for the rest of the day. Okay, so these are just really little things that I wanted to share that helps me, and I hope helps you as well. So the next one is the audience, and a part of it we've already done. So the grounding, that's why I wanted to do grounding with you at the beginning as well, because to show you how that affects the nervous system, anxiety, and your mind by bringing the focus back to yourself. We always need something to kind of focus on. So breathing, body is always good. And that's something you can now take away into your sessions, right? Maybe you do that already with your audience. Again, mindfulness, increase engagement, awareness, and attention. So the pictures on the right are techniques that you can use for breath work. The first one we did, you breathe in for 4 counts, hold for about 1 or 2 counts, and then you breathe out for 4, and slowly increase that count by count up to 8 counts. So the idea is to pull your exhale twice as long as your inhale. And that really calms down your nervous system. The one next to it, the second one on the right there, is using the senses. So you can ask the participants to breathe, take a couple breaths on their own, and say, what do you see? Usually it's darkness, but some people do see color, you know, when they close their eyes. What do you smell, hear, touch, and, you know, taste as well? So these are, again, hacks or mindfulness tricks to bring your attention to something else other than, let's say, your busy day or whatever you're focusing on. The last 2 is a little bit fun, so I want to do it together with you. The first one is the whistling. So if we take a big inhale together and use your mouth like a whistle on the exhale. So it will sound like, you know, the duck face look that everyone used to love as a millennial. Right? It's quite fun. And that also really releases your pressures, and it creates a sensory of sound to focus on. And the last one, the lion's breath. Does anyone know the lion's breath here? No. Okay, so it's also an energizing breath. The whistle and the lion's breath are really good when you have an early session and you need to like get that flow going. I will do it. It is a bit funny because it does look like that, but even worse. So what happens is you breathe in as hard as you can, as deep as you can. And then when you breathe out, you stick out your tongue and look up like that. Exactly. So it's a very silly one. It gets people also like giggly. So let's try it together. Okay. So inhale very deeply into your belly and breathe out. Good. Very nice. I love it, Layla. Your 100% commitment, and Daria and Sunita, I love it. That is what the lion breath is. And you will feel that energy into your body. And that's what we want to achieve at 7:30 a.m. in the morning. Okay, that's what I do in my morning classes. And again, the intention and goal setting is also very important. Exactly what I did with you as well, because we want to know why we are doing what we're doing, right? We want our brain to commit to something. So in order to get that upfront buy-in that you're looking for, and if you have time, it's great to go around the room if, you know, your group allows the size to be like, oh, what is your goal today? What do you want to learn? What is your intention? Because during the session, when you kind of sense tangents or things getting off focus, maybe you can say, oh yeah, let's take a breath and return to our intention. And then people are like, oh yeah, I really wanted to be stable and focused. So that really preps and primes the later work to allow you to get to them a little bit easier. Especially when things get slow and off track. So yeah, I hope you enjoy that audience part. Last but not least, I want to introduce the fun aspects. So the seminar, I think, you know, there are always lulls, right, in your sessions. I know some of them can be hours at a time, and you need people's engagement and creativity. And the key thing that I like to remember, also with my teams, is that when we move, our brains move. So a lot of times, maybe it's just worth it to stand up, right, and just walk around, you know, maybe shift your weight a little bit while you do a brainstorming session, or when you need them to respond to something. So we can always leverage yoga and breath work at the beginning and end, and during whatever brainstorming or engagement you need to regain that focus. Because a lot of times when people check their emails, or they think like, oh, later I still have to answer Bob on this, you know, project. But when you move, you kind of have to be more intentional and then be more focused in that present mode. And again, feel free to bring in those facilitator exercises, the twist, right? The like cat and cow in the chair, to set the tone for your session. And really pick options that suit the time of day. Like, I had to learn this the hard way, because when you, for example, in the morning, it's like 7:30 a.m., you got to teach a yoga class. All these people actually don't really want to be there, but their future selves and present selves outvoted them. But you're just sitting there and you're like, yeah, so relax. Let's breathe in, breathe out. And then by the time you're like, okay, everybody stand up, everyone's like staring at you. And they're like, what do you mean stand up, right? So at the start, if you have an early seminar, get them all to stand up and do the breathing. You can also breathe when you're standing up, of course. Do the stretches. Also, you can do it. I did it standing up with you guys as well, right? That really forces the body to stay engaged, and the breath, right? Sometimes the breath work, the slower ones, are good to calm things down, but the lion's breath, for example, that's an energizing breath, and it's really good to use in the morning. Same with the whistle, that forces you to engage your face, and then that sound stimulation. And last but not least, want to have more fun? So one of the best things I like to do is testing communication. We all believe, I think, that we are awesome communicators, and the same for me as well. But it wasn't until that I needed to cue yoga poses, teach a class, I'm like, oh, wow, I really don't know parts of my body. I don't know orientation so much. So again, this is a fun exercise, an icebreaker. If you have a larger group, you can split the participants into smaller groups. Give them a yoga pose. That's why I say on the left here, right? So let's take the first one, the tree. And you give them the tree pose, and you tell them you have to come up with directions to cue everybody else into the pose. And this works perfect virtually, right? Or in person. And the audience, the rest of the people, are not allowed to hear the pose, because some people who do yoga, they know what the tree is, right? And they can like get into it. But and then also without demoing, so no showing on the camera. It's just about describing how it should look like, you know, like stand up tall, left foot, the bottom of your left foot on the inner right knee. And you know, it's tricky to do, and sometimes you just, you know, people get in like awkward positions, and they're quite funny to watch. Last but not least, last point I will make here is the balancing poses. So one, I have to say, be careful in this one, because when you're balancing, right, you want to make sure there's nothing around you that could make you fall into. Usually I would also prefer that the participants, you know, hold their desk or hold something to keep more stability. And then the balancing also trains attention, and that's why I love to do it. So the tree is already a balancing pose, right? You are only on one foot, so you know, the wobbly thing. But if you want to make it a little bit harder, if you find that you have a lot of athletic people in your room, ask people to close their eyes. When you close your eyes, you completely, as you probably know, lose your focus. Or if that still doesn't get them, tell them to do it on the tiptoes. You know, you increase that level of difficulty. So these are all the good things that you can try to incorporate into your session. And it just brings a little bit more silliness. People take themselves less seriously. And I always say in my classes, you know, smile, use your face muscles. It's just yoga. Like, we're not saving the world here. It's just we're, you know, tuning into ourselves, and just take it a little bit lightly. So I hope that you know, helps you with the fun aspect, with the mindfulness, taking care of your own bodies, and just making a difference and making the impact that I know you're all capable of, because you guys seem like awesome people. And I just really want to thank you for being here. I want to thank Daria, Friday Makers, for inviting me. What a wonderful session.